So as I've detailed in a bunch of my videos, we are getting a 30th anniversary stream for the Diablo franchise on February 11th. This is also part of the 35th anniversary of Blizzard. And now we've gotten some new information on what we're actually going to be seeing during this showcase. So prepare to witness the next chapter of Diablo 4. Tune into our Diablo 30th anniversary spotlight, where we'll unveil the next class arriving with Lord of Hatred, a new force in Sanctuary that will reshape how you fight, survive, and master the battlefield. We'll also dive deeper into major updates to skill trees and new endgame systems that were first revealed in December. In addition to what's next for Diablo 4, you'll get a glimpse at what's coming for Diablo Immortal and Diablo 2 Resurrected. You'll be able to watch this on either Twitch or YouTube. And then after that, on February 12th, the Diablo 4 team will be having another Sanctuary sit down on the Sanctuary Discord at 11 a.m. PST, where they will go over everything that was covered in the showcase and have a live Q&A. And I think there's usually like a live stream Q&A for this, and I'm sure there will be, and I'm sure someone will have a post up that goes over all of these questions and answers, probably on the Diablo 4 Reddit afterward as well. Now, we did also get a small short going over some of this information, but they gave us a little bit more information on what we're going to be seeing for Diablo 4. And in this short, they showed a screenshot of the new overhauled skill trees, which aren't showing us anything we didn't really know based upon the trailer and information we got during the reveal of Lord of Hatred. This one is just showing a screenshot of the Necromancer instead of the Sorcerer, but the skill tree seems to be the same things, and we'll go over a little bit more of that in this video as well. They showed us an animation of in-game of the Herodric Cube. Now, this doesn't seem to be something you take in your inventory. It seems to be on this like pedestal and what looks to be in the new region of Skova, so it's probably in like the main city of Skovos. And presumably, since the Herodric Cube is going to be a big part of the game going forward, it'll probably also be placed in a lot of the major cities of the game. Then they also showed another screenshot of the Talisman system, which if you haven't heard of, this is how they're bringing sets and set bonuses into Diablo 4. There's this Talisman system with 6 different areas. You put seemingly new items like maybe runes or charms or something like that into it, and they all funnel into this middle thing and give you set bonuses. These are seeming to be pretty gameplay impacting set bonuses that will change things you're able to do on your class, maybe using things in combination you weren't able to before. Like for instance, in the gameplay trailer, they showed off a Werebear Druid using Grizzly Rage and using lightning skills with that, which you normally can't do or can't do in the game right now. So it seems like they're going to be going through a lot of what's coming with the expansion, and I think they're more specifically going to be focusing on systems and the overhauls coming, because keep in mind, we also have a pretty massive end game overhaul coming, which I think they're going to be going over in this as well, which is adding in the new war table system, which is like a new end game playlist system. We do know there's going to be skill trees added to every new piece, added to every piece of endgame content when the expansion is released as well, seemingly as part of the warplane system. So hopefully they go over all of that endgame stuff as well. There's also a new endgame system coming that hopefully we get more of a look at. So it's seeming like we're getting a pretty massive look at everything coming with the next Diablo 4 expansion, Lord of Hatred. Now, there is actually something I noticed looking at the new screenshot of the new Necromancer skill tree that they showed in this small clip. Now, first, we should probably go over what they showed us with the skill tree in the previous trailer when they first revealed the expansion. Now, we are getting a pretty massive skill tree overhaul. One of the main things you'll notice is that we can't see any passives. Now, they haven't shown the bottom of the tree, and we don't know if passives are in the tree or not. Presumably, the capstone passives would still be in the skill tree, but we don't know if any other passives are there. They showed us a good chunk of some of the sorcerer skill tree and we saw no passives. So it's either they're gone, they're in their own separate skill tree, or maybe they took all the passives and put them in one section of the skill tree. But we still need more information to know whether or not all the passives are still in the skill tree. But all of the skills are getting a pretty big change. First off, all skills are not going to have 12 ranks you can put into them, which if there are going to be no passives, that makes a bit more sense that you'll have a lot more points to put more points into the skills you want to further upgrade them. I'm also wondering if maybe they're going to add more powers and like upgrade tiers for those 12 ranks like they did with the ultimates. So right now, if you go to any ultimate in any of the classes, if you put 5 points into it, it gets some other perk for that ultimate, whether it be some new effect when you use it, a reduced cooldown, or something else like that. Let's say for Petrify and a Druid, if you put 5 ranks into it, it resets all of your non-ultimate cooldowns when you use it. So that's a pretty big buff for putting 5 points into that ultimate skill. And I'm wondering if maybe they're doing that to a larger extent, since there'll be all of these new ranks for every skill. Maybe out of 12 ranks, maybe you get up to 5 points into a skill and it gives you like a new buff or effect or passive. Go up to 10, it gives you another, and maybe you get 12, it gives you a third or something like that. So it could be something, or it could just be more ranks into the skills to put more and more points into a specific skill to further specialize your build and buff up the skills you want even more. But I think a really important part of this new skill tree overhaul is how they're going about upgrading your skills, because it's going to give a lot more gameplay changes than we have right now. So in this new skill tree, you will now have 3 different paths to go down for every one of your skills. There will be 2 side paths. Both of those side paths have 2 options. Now these are all circular upgrades, I think, meaning they're more passive. And what I'm presuming this is that these are essentially the upgrades we have for skills right now. So right now in the skill tree, you take your one skill, you have the one upgrade you put 1 point into, then you can choose one of 2 other upgrades. I'm presuming that these 2 side paths in every skill in all the skill trees now will essentially be those type of upgrades, just you'll take one from each path and there'll be 2 options in each path. So there'll actually be more options than we have in these skill upgrades right now. But then you have a middle path which give you more substantial changes to that skill, and these are going to be the skill variants, and you can choose 1 out of 3 out of the middle section that are skill variants. Now we already know that skill variants are going to change up how the skill works. They even show us a look at this in the gameplay trailer where the sorcerer takes ball lightning. They show a normal ball lightning attack which you shoot forward lightning balls. You can just spam it as much as you want if you have the resources. Then they take one of the variants, and the color of that variant is the fire color, and it changes ball lightning from a lightning skill you just shoot forward to a fireball lightning that you place on the ground. It seems to have a fire patch below it, and it seems they can place those all over anywhere they want. So it completely changes up not only how the skill works, but also the element of the skill. And it seems like this is what they're doing with every single skill. And it does also seem like some skills will have more variants. Specifically, one of the sorcerer skills has 4 variants to choose between instead of 3. So all skills will essentially now have 2 side paths that have 2 options each. You choose 1 out of those 2 for each path. Then the middle section that can have like 3 to 4 variants that'll heavily change up how the skill works and potentially even change up its element. Now, an interesting thing I saw when looking at the new screenshot they showed of the Necromancer tree is that one of the side paths of the Reap skill of the Necromancer has one of these circular upgrades, so the more passive upgrades, as a different color than the skills normally are. One of those upgrades being green. Now, if you go through and look at the Sorcerer skill tree, all of those side paths for your skills were all sharing the same color, and they weren't deviating from that. But in this Necromancer tree, Reap has one, a green one. And then what's also interesting is that their blood basic skill, I forget the name of it, also has another color upgraded in one of these side upgrades. But what's interesting with this is a blood skill, but most of these side path upgrades are like the brown or gray that passives usually show as. And even though this is a blood skill, all of the other passive upgrades to the side are that like brown gray. But then one of them is also red, showing it's like a blood upgrade. So I'm very much wondering if there's also going to be more substantial changes to these skills in those side paths as well, or if those are maybe going to add different elements or effects than the upgrades we have for skills right now. But either way this ends up turning out with the skill tree, I'm very much excited to learn more about the skill tree. It's looking a lot more interesting than what we currently have. It kind of seems like they're taking the upgrades we have for our skills right now, giving us more options. Those are going to be side path upgrades. And then the skill variants are seeming kind of like the runes you choose in Diablo 3. We're essentially choosing a different rune for a skill. Kind of completely changes how the skill works. And that's seeming to be what they're going for with this skill tree overhaul. But that's pretty much all the information we have for what is coming with this 30th anniversary stream for Diablo. It's also going to be the 35th anniversary for Blizzard as a whole, and that's why we're getting all these showcases for all the Blizzard games. And I'm very excited to learn more about everything coming with this expansion. The second expansion is looking a lot bigger and a lot more interesting than Vessel of Hatred was. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.